My website, I've chosen to describe myself as a futurist, filmmaker, and epiphany addict. I decided that it was actually a good use of the word addict. I need to be inspired. Because if I'm not inspired, I'm way too aware of the big picture. And I think thinkers like Woody Allen would agree, because all of his films are informed by his terror of the meaninglessness of existence if we don't paint the meaning upon it. What I'm longing for at all times is the experience of succumbing to some ecstatic communion with a feeling that is divine. I live for those moments. I need them. I love them. I'm a filmmaker, and my background is I worked in television. I worked for Al Gore's TV network for a number of years, and I fell in love with the power of short-form filmmaking. I felt that with short form you could create content that could spread, that could be shared in the age of social media, because I fell so in love with this idea of technology as a means to transcend our boundaries that I felt like this was a narrative that needed to be put out there in the world, because we live in this world of doom and gloom. We live in a media environment where if it bleeds, it leads. And there's a reason for that. My friend Peter Diamandis, founder of the X Prize and Singularity University, wrote a book called Abundance, Why the Future Will Be Much Better Than You Think. And in the book, he talks about how we have these overactive amygdalas that we've inherited from a time where we used to live in the savannas of Africa, and it was biologically advantageous for us to be really nervous all the time and always looking for danger, right? Because it kept us alive against the tiger, so that the tiger wouldn't eat us. And we've inherited that. But now we live in a world that is increasingly safer, increasingly less violent. I don't know if you guys know the work of Steven Pinker, who says that the chances of a man dying at the hands of another man today are the lowest than they've ever been. Or the work of Matt Ridley, who actually shows the inexorable progress that we've made using science and technology and how the world has actually never been better. Or the work of Hans Rosling, who has the website gapminder.org that went viral a couple of years ago because it showed how every nation in the world, by every measurable indicator, has been rising. Quality of life has been rising over the last 200 years. But we don't notice this because we have these overactive amygdalas that are just looking for danger. And our increasingly wired world is more than happy to showcase all the danger, even though it's less than there's ever been before. Anyway, I promise to go slow. My friend Ray Kurzweil, who's a world-famous futurist and has an amazing track record at predicting these exponential changes, he uses a famous example. It's really simple, but I think it's important that people take it in order to understand what makes this kind of radical change possible. And he says, take 30 steps. If you take 30 steps linearly, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 30 steps later, you get to 30. That's pretty simple. That's how our brains make extrapolations about distance and about what's coming and about the future. Now, if you take those same 30 steps, but you take them exponentially, you would go 2, 4, 8, 16. 30 steps later, you'd be at 1 billion. That's the difference between linear growth versus exponential growth. 30 steps, 1 to 30, 30 steps, 1 to 1 billion. And that accounts for the reason that the cell phone in one's pocket today, the average smartphone, is 1 million times cheaper, 1 million times smaller, and 1,000 times more powerful than a supercomputer that was $60 million, half a building in size, 40 years ago. So consider what that means. So it used to be half a building, now it fits in your pocket. In 25 years, it'll be the size of a blood cell. It'll be reverse engineering us from inside. Computers trillions of times more powerful than the ones we have today will be inside of our bodies. You talk about the coevolution of humans and technology. People think technology is this separate artificial thing. It's in symbiosis. It's a who and what we are. It's a part of who and what we are. And eventually, we're going to close the loop because the technology is going to go inside of us.